Welcome, my dears, to the Madness Table, episode 170. This week brought to you by divination using Valentine's Day candy hearts. Have you ever wanted to pierce the veil of reality and see into our collective future? Well, now you can. Go to your local CVS or Walgreens, or, wherever. Buy some candy hearts. They will be cheap, because this is a long time after Valentine's Day. They are made of chalk, mixed with sugar. Don't let that dissuade you. Take a full mouthful of them, and then spit it on the ground. Only then will you be able to read the future. Your future looks like you're following the Madness Table on social media accounts. Instagram, Twitter. We don't do that anymore. TikTok. Is that still legal? I don't know. There's so many options beyond the veil. Perhaps you will look forward and see yourself contributing to our Patreon or Coffee pages. That's coffee spelled Kofi. I wouldn't know. I don't drink the stuff. Anyway, if your future holds that for you, it'll help keep the literal lights on. And by that, I do mean metaphorical lights on, because it is more about the bandwidth and the storage, but it's not really about the lights. That's a separate financial. Anyway, so the point is, you can help the pod by doing that. You could also tell somebody about it. Perhaps as you're walking down the street, spitting candy hearts onto the sidewalk, you can look into somebody's eyes and candy mouth fool say, "Madness Table." That is how we've gotten 43% of our viewers. And you could help contribute and make that number even larger. Now remember, if you wish to see the future, all you have to do is buy the oldest box of Valentine's Day candy hearts you can find, put them all into your mouth, and then spit them onto the ground. The future is yours. Back to you, Will.
I love the idea that
Wow.
spit is our guerrilla marketing tactic.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you ever come across a weird Harry Potter-esque blood wall, but it's spit and it says anything, no, it's us and our fans here at the Madness Table.
Thank you.
Wow. Geez. I don't know. Hey, Andrew, first of all, I love your hat. I don't know what's up with it other than it looks like a chameleon. But I'm all for it. And they have a lot of spit and saliva. But anyways, that was my connection there. I almost said, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Speaking of tongue action, time for me to speak. So last time, our party went through quite the conundrum, building on everything else that was truly crazy. Scylla went searching for Sue, only to be stabbed to death. We had Sephel tweaking as he realized that his reality was all an illusion. We had Lara seeking a little bit of rest and respite, only to find herself back at the Temple of Bahamut and seeing herself somehow bound in a small storage room below. And Indigo in the basement of some building, as Sam and Brendan still don't know, with a dead kobold and another figure behind that body. But I want to open up the scene with a different image. I want you to picture the Gate Castle, the first place you ever came to within the Kingdom of Ember. You guys remember that? That's where you had the small banquet hall, you met the triplets, you met the king and queen, and instead of what is normally kind of a steady pace of business, it's very quiet. We're in the dining hall, you see people kind of milling about, talking and eating, and all of a sudden the far hidden gates that you can see through the open archway leading out of this hall is flown open as the gatekeeper comes out, and he's like, the scale guard are here, and they've got victims of some horrible attack. And we see a bunch of other guards coming in, and they're swarming, and they're all confused because the fact that the Scale Guard have brought anybody back is a very rare occurrence, and they don't do so without reason. And within the flurry of activity, we finally see this giant stone gate that camouflages the true entrance into the Kingdom of Ember creak open, and coming through is Sir Laertes and a number of other Scale Guard with a makeshift stretcher between them on which lies a heavily bloodied body of a very familiar Leonin figure. We see his armor is torn to shreds. We see a number of other Scale Guards coming in carrying other figures, not all of them in these makeshift stretchers, but they are immediately ushered to the north to the very same rooms that we are and our listeners would recognize as the same places that some of you had visited when Sue was recovering. We see them being ushered into different rooms, and specifically Starcaller being led into one room and moved off of a stretcher. It's a flurry of activity. Everybody's yelling at each other. Sir Laertes is like, "Apothecary, now!" and calling for all sorts of aid. And eventually, like, you can see this clumsy oaf of a man coming in and is like trying to cut away the pieces of old leather armor on Starcaller. And as he's pulling it away, we just see welling blood from these deep fissures and gashes. His arm is almost completely torn off. A chunk is missing from his leg. Bits of hair are missing. It's horrific. And this doctor is trying to do what he can, but he's almost in shock because he has never seen a Leonin before, nor something this dramatic. But a few minutes later, a familiar figure bursts into the room and begins barking orders at everybody else there, and it becomes calm, quiet, and efficient in this otherwise chaotic world of medical issues. That's Beatrice. She comes in, she starts telling Laertes she needs boiling water, she needs rags, she needs fresh sinews so she can stitch these wounds. She needs space so she can begin casting. She's yelling at the bumbling kind of pseudo doctor as they begin to start casting spells of various kind to work over Starcaller's dying form. And eventually, over time, as she is up to her elbows in blood, she's like wiping away sweat from her forehead. They've exhausted themselves of their magical capabilities to heal him. And while he is no longer on the verge of dying, there's still more work to be done, which means the manual stitching, the bandages, tending to the burns. And this entire time, Starcaller's face has remained stoic but unconscious. And eventually, the scene fades and opens back up, and as time is passing, Starcaller is still unconscious, but every day we see Beatrice coming back in, checking his wounds, caring for him, tending to him, seeing his progress. And eventually, Starcaller begins to awaken. He's confused. He's wondering what's going on. He doesn't recognize this room. But very quickly, the memories of his party, as they descended into the Underdark, encountering an Umber Hulk that tore them apart limb by limb, he is all of a sudden trying to throw himself out of the bed, finding that not all of his limbs are quite as responsive as they once were, as now months have passed. A little bit of atrophying has kicked in from being laid there, even though magics have been cast on him. We see a guard through the little window in the door start yelling for help, and eventually Beatrice comes in, and Starcaller is immediately like, "Where am I? What have you done to me? What is happening? Who are you?" And she is able to eventually calm him down, get him to sit, and she explains how she was told by Ser Laertes how he was found with his party surrounded by a dead Umber Hulk, but the trail of a far greater monstrous creature, something like a minotaur. But they are unfamiliar with it, only really knowing rumors of something that could be larger than that. Eventually, Starcaller gives in to the fact that he needs greater help. And we see Beatrice being the one person that he eventually begins to open up to and allow for this aid, where before in his old home and with his family and his people, showing such weakness could have been a death sentence. He could have been left for dead before even reaching here. And as this time passes, as she begins to help rehabilitate him and he begins to become friends with Ser Laertes, we see this kind of growing bond in this passion between him and Beatrice. And eventually him, after he's recovered fairly well, going out back into the tunnels, proving himself to the king and queen, who he meets in time. And we see that in the Old Gate Castle halls, until eventually Beatrice is allowed to take him out into the greater city proper. And the scene shifts again. And it's the first time that we see them together as something more. We see Starcaller opening his eyes to the face of Beatrice's right next to his on a pillow. It's this warm scene. She eventually awakens, and it becomes clear that they have begun to share something more of a life together. However, Starcaller still harbors these hopes and these dreams, especially tormented by his past, but also wanting to do something greater, as he has been inspired by much of what he sees here in Coalfire Keep, within the keep and the kingdom. And Beatrice, listening in rapture and awe and beginning to buy into this dream of what could be, and this passion building between the two of them. And then eventually Beatrice notices something within herself that has changed, but she doesn't know how to go about telling Starcaller. And as we see a scene where she's like building up the courage one day in her kitchen, but all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. Ser Laertes is there, as something's come up and he needs Starcaller's help. She figures, I can wait for another time. But the right moment never seems to come, as more and more often Starcaller becomes more important and more engraved within the city of the Kingdom of Ember. And eventually, newcomers have come to the city, ones that need help, ones suffering from burns. A gray dwarf woman accompanied by a Triton, and surprisingly, a Mind Flayer. Starcaller has found them with Ser Laertes, and he asks her for her help, and sure enough, she does it. She's a little wary of them, as she was with him. But it seems like these people could do some good. And we see her attitude begin to shift as Starcaller becomes more ingrained with this new company of heroes, as some people have begun to call them. But she's nervous. She still hasn't told him. She doesn't know how to now, because he's going after far greater threats, things that, while she realized there could be danger, weren't going to come knocking so soon. Perhaps she didn't fully realize everything that could be coming down the path that he wanted to pursue. And then he's going off. And she doesn't have much time left before their child is here. And yet she still can't seem to tell him. She doesn't want to dampen that fire that burns within him, the goal that he always had. They hadn't talked about what it could mean to have a family. And so she watches him leave, apprehensive and hoping beyond all hope that he comes back. And we flash forward to the day that she gives birth. We see Sue beside the bed. It's long, it's painful, it's difficult, and all she wants is for him to be there. But she has no way to reach him. And eventually that passes, and she puts off giving their child a name for at least a little bit, hoping that he'll show up any day, that the mission will be over. However, a couple months go by, and she hears of the party's return and how they've run straight to the keep. And all excited, she goes running there, child in hand, Sue beside her, because she can't wait. But then all she sees is Scylla, Sephel, two other people, but no Starcaller. And her heart shatters. She doesn't even know how to tell her child that her father, who she never got to meet, is dead. She is filled with regret and anguish for not telling him, for not convincing him to stay, how she should have been stronger, or perhaps she should have been more forward with him. Maybe it was something they should have talked about before, but how long had she put it off, thinking she didn't want to be a burden, and now she berates herself for thinking what a stupid thought. Because they had something more than that. He would have heard her. But all she's given is a short couple of words and a bottle of wine. And now she's just filled with anger as tears fall from her face as she pulls her child gently towards home. Eventually, Sue following behind later. As she goes back into her house, she excuses her daughter for a moment as she puts her down with some toys, and she's like, I'll be right back. And she goes upstairs and she sees the bed that they shared, some of the belongings he'd left behind, some of the gifts that he had given her, and then the staff that she had been given. And she decides then and there that these are not heroes. And they deserve punishment. And then we flash back to the present as Beatrice stands before Indigo, a bloody dagger in hand, a kobold body cold at her feet, or growing cold at her feet, as she says, "You should not have come back." In Indigo, I think with your high enough insight, you know that there is no convincing this woman to stop her actions. You can try, and if you want to, I will give you that. But the hate and the pain and everything else swims in her eyes so clearly for you to see, even though you don't have truly any idea who she is. What she feels towards you is clear.
Um, who, exactly are you?
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm just here to clean up your mess.
That doesn't sound good.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Coolio. Is it opposite day? Because it's like a really good roll if it's opposite day.
I don't think so.
Dang. Then natural 1 to 11?
Jesus Christ,
I mean,
Andrew.
that bonus is sensational, but
Yeah. Ooh,
you're not undead or a construct, right? I'm just checking in. It's been a couple weeks.
Should, just gonna throw it out there. Is this a good time to use an inspiration, Will? Like, would you recommend that as just like amigo?
Yeah.
Amigo,
I would totally recommend using inspiration here.
Hey, Will, I would love to use some inspiration here.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you. Go for
Hey,
it.
you
man.
know what? Hey, in this storied program, we have a history with our inspiration, and it has not once worked out, but
You really can't get worse.
I
than a
can't
one.
get worse.
Now, you could roll another natural one, which
Which
would
would
be
be-
impressive.
Truly impressive.
1 in 400.
15. Not, well, 5 plus 10 is 15. So, like,
Oh,
not
we've got a 5.
better.
It is better. The bar was as low as it gets.
In fact, couldn't be any lower.
The rolling bar was already low. The DC was higher. You find your body wanting to twitch or to move, but you can't as you've become paralyzed.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not great.
Can we talk about this?
You can't even say it. You're just as Beatrice begins to advance towards you. But we're gonna switch to somebody else. Don't you guys love my storytelling?
Man, this bitch, alright? She needed to just get... She knew who Scylla was. She knew she didn't need anything by being honest. Had she
This
had
is what-
someone to talk to. I don't know if she's friends with Sue, but she can't seem to talk about her feelings. She's got to get all mad about it.
You know what? We tried to console her even before the wine,
I
even with the
know.
wine. She didn't want it.
Brendan, we did well.
Listen, call me rude. Bitch got main character syndrome. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. You know, get her own podcast, man.
Oh, it's only funny because we're gonna die.
I know. She will win. She will win.
Scylla,
Oh.
Oh, have fun.
you feel something scratchy on your skin and on your face as you begin to wake more. You feel cold metal on your wrists and ankles, and you find yourself in manacles, but there is all this like dark scratchy material covering you, and you can't really figure it out, but like some of it's starting to spill in your mouth. It's like picking at your noses, and you're like, what the? And you're not sure what it is. Roll a nature check for me.
That is an 18 plus my modifier. 19.
Nice. It takes you a moment, but you realize that this is straw.
Oh. I was really worried it was going to be bugs, so I'm pretty good about straw.
I was also worried it was gonna be bugs.
Damn it. Let's go back. No, I'm just kidding. It's straw. And it just like... The smell of like manure fills your nostrils, along with this grass, this dried like grass surrounding you and covering you.
Can I move?
That's a situation you can kind of move, but you feel these manacles and chains holding you in place, and you're like, as you're blinking your eyes, it's hard because you realize you are buried under straw.
Got it. Buried under straw. Can I feel like, are the manacles only bound to each other, or am I bound to something?
You've realized that you are bound to something, and you've maybe got like a couple inches worth of movement. You are like in a rack position. You are laying on your back. Your wrists are out. You can move them to like the sides a little bit. You can kind of pull, but not much. Same with your legs.
If she like, if she jostles her body around, does the straw start to fall off of her? Or like, I'm assuming she's horizontal. Can she feel the gravity pulling her entire body down?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You're horizontal. You feel it shift, but it's not like coming off of you. You can't see like any light coming through it either.
Weird. Can I hear anything?
Make a perception check.
14.
You feel like you hear something, but it sounds really far away. And whatever it is seems somewhat muffled.
Scylla will try and pull against the manacles to see if she can break one.
You don't have any of your items, so
yeah.
Make sure those are off of your sheet.
Just my
for
normal
affecting your
strength.
Yeah.
You want me to roll athletics or?
Yeah. That sounds good.
It's gonna be 14.
It's not enough.
Okay.
Now, roll me a. Just roll up a straight up int check or wisdom check. Either one, whatever one's better for you.
Wisdom. I only got a 6.
Okay. It's enough. You realize that while it's not a lot of weight from this straw that's necessarily pressing down on you, you realize air is becoming more of a problem as you're beginning to feel slightly lightheaded.
Got it.
So we're going to start working on the suffocating rules. So a creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus your constitution modifier. We obviously know 1 round equals a 6-second span. So it takes 30 rounds for 3 minutes, but you tell me how many minutes you have of essentially holding your breath.
4.
4 minutes. Okay. Here's the option. Because I know I'm throwing this at you right now. We can either continue in this moment, or I can jump to someone else to give you another moment to, like, think about how you want to handle this. Because I don't want to be like, you've got 4 minutes, figure it the fuck out, like, ding, ding, ding. 4 minutes has passed, what do you got? And you didn't make it. You die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah,
if you feel like you have some ideas, switch. Okay. All right. I just want to give you time to think about it, because this
I
is
do
a
have
lot
an
to
idea,
throw
but
at
I
you.
think we should switch and let me think about it another minute.
Okay, that's totally fine. Brendan. I was almost like Lara, and then I was like, nope, Sam's still thinking.
Yeah,
Can't do that.
Let's give Sam time to think. Sam, what do you think Lara's up to?
Sorry, I pulled a dumb.
I pulled it dumb.
We've been gone a couple weeks. I haven't been doing
been a
much.
minute.
I had a migraine the other day. My IQ's dropping every second. All right.
Yeah, the migraine did it.
It's not me beating my head against the wall like, how do I finish this campaign? All right. Brendan, you find yourself locked up in a small room.
Yeah, I sure
It's
do.
maybe 10 by 10 feet. You don't see the door from where you are sitting. You are surrounded by barrels. You are manacled. You have none of your items. However, you feel pretty healthy. other than like groggy.
Okay.
Like you've slept too long, like that kind of headachy feeling, if you know what I mean.
So I want to be very clear about this because I'm both low HP and low spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
This is would I just have my health? Would I have not spent any of my spells? Like, what are we talking here?
I want you to put yourself at half health.
Okay.
Because of some of the things that you had done in the dream realm, and I want you to give yourself. You said you were out of your first level spell slots. Tell me how much are you missing out of your total spell slots?
So I have 0 of 4 first level.
Mm-hmm.
I've expended 1 second level, 1 third level, a 4th level, a 5th level. I have none of my 6th, and none of my 7th. So I effectively have 1.
But you got like half of your arsenal, essentially.
Yeah,
worth of
yeah,
like, spell slots.
half of my like mid-range arsenal, and then no like first level.
Okay, I'm not going to change anything about your spell slots because I feel like you still have a fair amount to work with.
Nope, that's fair.
But your HP is at half.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. So how's this scene set? Am I on a wall? Am I in a chair? Is it just
You're
manacles?
in a sitting position against a wall. Very similar, though you weren't listening to how I described Indigo. So you are just like on your butt, on stone floor. Your arms are like this against the wall, spread out, kind of T-posing it. You see your legs out in front of you. However, unlike Indigo, who had longer chains going to the back wall for his legs, yours are stretched out ahead of you, so it's harder to move.
Okay. That's fine. No,
yeah. The confidence is oozing.
No, I have a question, but I don't want to ask it because I'm afraid of the answer.
Well, you'll never know unless you ask.
So manacles are my only restraints?
Yes.
Great.
There's other things, but you don't want to know about them.
Okay. Well, I'll take the plug out when I get to a more comfortable position.
Okay.
It is a good thing they don't know how to restrain a wizard. And since there's only a verbal component and no materials, I will cast Misty Step and remove myself from the manacles.
Okay. You remove yourself from the manacles.
So I'm just going to like pop into the center of this room, essentially. Yep. Okay. Can I check some of the barrels? See if there's
sure.
Well,
roll me some strength checks. Break them open, buddy.
Oh, they're like
everything's sealed. Yeah.
Sealed. Okay. While I'll try to do that on a couple just for shits. I'm also looking around the room. Is there anything of note? Any material? Any equipment? Doors?
You see one door along the same wall that you had been manacled on.
Okay.
For orientation's sake, we'll say it's the southern wall.
Okay. That's cocked. Okay. Just straight strength for barrel... even if it was athletics, it would be the same modifier. 19 for popping open some of these barrels.
All right. The first one you pop open, beer.
Great.
As soon as you break it open, the smell hits you like your hand breaks through and it's soaked. You go to a couple smaller ones and like your hand splashes in and you cut yourself a little bit on the wood and it immediately begins to burn as you realize that there's hard liquor in some of these. Okay. And the more you begin to break open, the more you realize that like
all of these are alcohol.
All of these are alcohol. It's like you open up a couple crates. There's bottles of wine. There's bottles of beer. There's specialty like imported stuff. So you think you're in some kind of alcoholic storeroom of sorts.
Okay.
For some people, this would be amazing.
Yeah. Not
not a wizard.
after the first millennia or so, we kind of got bored of it.
You moved past those demons a long time ago.
Yeah,
Different type of demon.
Once you try every kind of blackout, it's just not fun anymore.
I mean, on the one hand, you're in a whole new body. Your tolerance is set at 0. So
It's
just,
true.
It's the only thing about it.
My tolerance is more than it would have been in Mind Flayer.
Your tolerance is set at Orog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. So nothing else of note in this room. Is there any sort of peephole through the door? Is it just a flat door?
It looks like a regular wooden and like iron crossbar door. You see that there's a big fat padlock on it with what looks like a keyhole that you might be able to peep through, but there's no window. It's pretty tightly sealed. Like there's nothing crack-wise that you can look through. There's no window. So
Okay. I'm not very dexterous and I don't want to use a whole lot of spells. Can I just try to break the lock?
yeah, go for it.
Let's say
Like you wanna pummel it, or are you trying to use it like something else to get in there?
I'm looking around the room. Was there anything that I could even remotely use, or is it just sort of a...
There's no like crowbars or tools,
Yeah.
but get creative if you want.
Okay. Let's try brute force first. Let me I'm just gonna try to like rip the padlock off.
It's not a padlock. It's like inset in the door. Sorry, I should have described that.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very old-fashioned. I have them on some of my old doors here at my house
Mhm.
where it was like you can just see the keyhole, but you know it's like a giant iron box
Right.
that's inset the wood.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm with you. Okay. Then I put my foot to the lock. I'm just gonna try to like kick and break it at the latch.
Bad boys,
Okay.
bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you?
Okay.
We gonna roll. That's what we gonna do.
That's another natural 15 for a 19 total.
Wait.
Okay.
He's stuck. Oh.
You hit it solidly. Like you feel the door rattle a little bit,
Hmm.
and then you feel this odd tingling sensation against your foot. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, fuck. Was it trapped? My dexterity saves are kind of terrible.
D&D 101.
It almost sounded like you said Dandy 101.
Yeah.
D&D 101.
Dandy dumbass.
Fuck. I was like, wait.
Shit.
I was like, okay, well, it's a good thing that I have resistance against, like, magic shit, and that was only with my Robe of the Archmagi.
Oh, no.
Which I don't currently
Nuts.
have.
Oh,
Ah, beans.
Okay, so that is just a 12.
No. It's not gonna do it. I hate to tell you, you take 10 points of thunder damage.
Yeah, that hurts.
As you hit it, and then all of a sudden this as you are thrown back from the door.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. We love that. I don't have first levels, so I can't do a detect magic to see if that's gone. Okay. Take 2. I'm gonna take one of the barrels that I haven't ripped open,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna yeet it at the door.
Good old fashioned eating.
What's your strength score these days?
19 with the Orog.
Okay. It's pretty damn strong. Yeah, you pick up like a good, because this is fantasy, I'm going to say you overhead press like a 200-pound barrel here.
Yeah.
And you're just going to huck it at this door. Yeet it.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a ranged attack throw with this.
Okay.
I'll let you use your strength for this because it's fine. You're close enough. Unless you're standing in the corner of the room and you're trying to angle it like Kobe.
No, it's
With
just
a
a
200-pound
it's a
barrel.
full like pull up the barrel, put it on the shoulder, take like a good wind back, and yeet it.
Okay, shot put. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a dirty 20.
Okay, yeah,
For just raw strength.
you hit it. Roll damage.
Okay. What am I rolling?
Oh, sorry, that's my bad. Roll 2d10.
Hell yeah.
This is 200 pounds that you just heaved across the room. It's gonna hurt.
Not much. Okay. 11.
Okay, yeah, you see where the iron bindings of the edge of the barrel like hit the door. It has like cleaved in, and like as that barrel is starting to come down, you see this like pulse go through the door, and then all of a sudden that barrel smashes across the room and splinters and breaks against the far wall.
Okay, so the effect is still active. Okay.
The thing you did notice is that when both you kicked it and the barrel hit, the door did shake.
Sure. So the door is taking damage, but there's some continual effect that is causing thunder damage. How does the door look after the barrel? Like, is it a little splintered? Is there a crack? Does it not look like it really took anything?
There's a decent gouge from where the corner of the barrel hit, but otherwise it looks fairly solid still.
Motherfucker. Okay.
What's your passive perception?
Passive perception. Would you rather my investigation?
No. Unless
okay.
you want to tell me that you're investigating something.
No. My passive perception is 10.
Okay. How fitting. You feel like you hear some kind of muffled sound from the other side of the door.
Okay.
You hear like
That's pretty muffled. It's really muffled over there.
I will...
it's bad.
I'm gonna go up to the peephole. I'm not gonna touch the door. I'm just gonna, like, lean down to the keyhole.
Yeah.
Is anybody there? Okay. I'm going to yell through the hole. I am in here. I am free, and I am drinking all your alcohol. If I don't hear anything happen, I'm just going to start smashing barrels.
Okay. You're just gonna be like as loud as possible,
Oh, yeah.
smashing barrels. Okay, all right. What is that for? Okay, all right. You start smashing stuff. Do you pause at any point to see if like there's any kind of commotion coming from the other side of the door, or are you just like just going at it like a heavy metal
if
drummer?
I hear something relevant, like if the voices get closer or it sounds like something's coming in, I would stop. But basically, I'm trying to cause as much commotion until there is a reaction.
Okay. You take like a moment here and there to pause, and after like a minute of you smashing into this stuff and hooting and hollering and all that, whatever, you do hear that muffling, and it sounds like it's like just behind the door.
Okay.
What do you think is going on about the door? It's kind of weird. Magic. It's got a sign on it too. It can keep out.
I'm gonna throw a barrel at the door again.
Okay. Yeah. Make another attack roll.
Okay. That's just a 12.
Okay, it still hits. Like
Okay.
with your strength, you can get it there. It hits. The door shakes both from the thunderous blast and it hitting, and then you just hear from the other side, and then you ever so slightly hear this like tentative. And then you see the door ripple as you hear the knock. And then you hear somebody on the other side go,
Oh no!
There's two sides to that glyph.
Great.
Do you do anything else in the meantime?
I'm gonna go back up to the keyhole.
Okay.
Are you still alive out there?
It takes a moment, but you just hear this.
Are you still alive over there? Oh, cool.
I'm going to guess, because you were hurt, that you are not my captor. Get over yourself for a minute. I need information. Is this all muffled, or is this dude just like concussed?
You realize it's like you're talking and you're talking into the keyhole and you pull back that a little bit of light is now starting to stream through. Do you look through the keyhole?
Yeah.
So you bend down a little bit more, you peek through the peephole, and you can see like just barely, it looks like some kind of cloth was covering this door. And you can see a bunch of stuff like scattered away from what would have been like stacked in front of it. And then you just see a small prone figure laying in the hall. They seem to be wearing some kind of like uniform of sorts. You see like some pants, you see what looks like a dirty hat, like waist apron, and then like bits of like an untucked tunic that seems to be covered in some things. But this figure is like trying to pick themselves up, and it's dark in this hall. Like you can see a decent bit, but it's still dark. And this figure's like trying to pick themselves up. And man, I think my feet are ruined.
Fantastic. I don't know if you're speaking.
Okay, Sam, you can laugh.
I don't know if you're speaking the common language. But I am trapped. There is a glyph on the door. Can you tell me what building I'm in?
Amy, there's a glyph on the door. Oh, man. You're in the club. You're in the Atlantic Club.
Are you allergic to thunder damage?
Well, it's truly amazing that even in this dire circumstance, you found a normal person whose day you ruined.
And you see this figure starting to like stand up, and they seem to be like stumbling towards you from your view. Like you can't quite make out their face, but you see that they are small. They're humanoid. They're not kobold. You think perhaps gnomish of some sort, but they're getting close to the door. And there's like, hey, man. And then like all of a sudden, like a big swollen eye appears in front of the other side. So it's like dark, and you like kind of pull back a little bit, and it's like, and then the mouth moves up, and it's like,
It's like I've been punched in the face 1,000 times. It hurts so much. Who's in there? I didn't even know this door was here.
I am Sephel the wizard. I don't know how I got here, but there seems to be a protective glyph on the door. I don't have my staff to remove it.
Sephel? That's really there?
You see that like eye move back and front.
Let me see your face. Let me see your face.
I put my face in the keyhole. I am.
That's not Sephel. You lying. How dare you lie about with my friends? Who are you?
He hits the door, and then all of a sudden,
Don't.
I know who this motherfucker is.
I don't.
a minute goes by. He comes back.
You should stop hitting the door.
No.
I am Sephel. Who are you?
You mean you're better than me? That's good.
Your face is very fucked up at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's Bimmy. It's Bimmy.
Billy?
It's
Close.
Jimmy. Jimmy.
Jimmy.
The only.
God.
It's me.
Oh no, wait. I don't hate you. That's just Hester. Jimmy, it is good to see you. I'm no longer an illithid. I died. It's a long story.
Again?
Yes, again.
I'm glad that you can still decipher me. I'm so sorry to our audience.
It's so awful. That was 50% a guess. Jimmy, where am I?
You're underneath the taverns by the curriculum.
By the curriculum.
Yeah. That
Okay.
place.
That's a start. Do you know if the rest of... No, you wouldn't know. On the off chance that
I don't know where we get our muffins. I don't know where the muffin man is.
No,
I'm
Jimmy,
sorry.
in the off chance that you are magically competent, do you know if this whole room is protected or just the door?
I would guess the door is because it keeps hurting me, but I don't know about the room. I never even knew this room was here.
Okay, that's weird.
Listen, there was like a weird curtain in front of it and a bunch of boxes. I just heard a lot of slam banging down in here, so I figured I'd come look.
Jimmy, move away from the door.
Okay. Wait, what you gonna do?
Just get away from the fucking door.
Okay.
And you see him run down the hall.
Jimmy's like, that's definitely spell.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody like him.
I'm gonna see if I can Misty Step again to get to the other side of this door.
You try, but nothing happens.
Interesting.
Do not pass door. Do not collect $200.
Okay. And that expended my spell slot, didn't it?
Yep.
Okay. There goes second level. Okay. Can I... He's still away from the door.
Do you look back through the people?
Yes, I'm going to double check before I murder somebody.
He's like slinking back down towards the door, like, I hope everything's okay. And like now that he's crouching, you can see it's definitely Jimmy, but his face has been beaten up a little bit from the
Okay.
damage of the door.
Jimmy, I'm going to cast a spell on the door. If you don't want it to hit you, leave the hallway.
Okay, but like, Okay.
5.
Oh yeah. And he starts sprinting down the hall.
Okay. Let's try a pulse wave.
Okay, it's gonna hit. So let's just go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. This is going to be at 4th level.
Fuck. Okay.
So this is 7d6. This is force damage, right? Yes. 7d6 force damage.
Okay.
I'm just gonna use roll 20 because I don't have that
Yep,
many dice.
that
near me.
sounds great.
Why not?
Use the tools we have.
Okay. 24 points of force damage.
You see some splintering beginning to appear in the door, and as you do, you see like a couple of runes all of a sudden appear, but then like fizzle out around those cracks.
Okay. Given my knowledge of magic,
Yes.
does that look like the rune tried to activate and didn't, or because I damaged the door, the rune has been broken?
Something about the damage you did to the door broke a type of incantation that was on the door.
Perfect. Okay. Let's, can I just fucking bull rush the door and try to break the rest of the way through?
Yeah, roll your unarmed damage.
Okay. Well, unarmed damage is just a flat 5 damage.
Okay, you hit it, you like with your weight added in there. You hear some more splintering. Do you continue to toss yourself at the door, or
Yeah,
do you...
if the rune is not hitting me, I'm just gonna not.
Yeah, you're
do
not getting
30
hit
more.
with a thunderous pulse
Yeah.
every time now.
Yeah, let's skip me trying 30 more things, and I'm just gonna keep slamming against the door until it breaks.
Okay, you keep slamming it, but eventually as you step back and you're like, I can do this all day. You see the padlock is beginning to like the keyhole and the little bit of metal around it looks, you smell like a burning. And then all of a sudden that dark iron keyhole starts to glow a bit as it is heating up somehow.
What the fuck?
And you
Okay.
just hear on the other side, and like that is going from like a dull red to a decent orange to a bright yellow. And then like there's a pause, and like the glow slowly begins to fade a little bit. And then near the door, you just hear, and then the glow
stand
begins to
back.
intensify again, and all of a sudden, like, there's all this fire as the iron is starting to catch the wood around it on fire as well.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you hear, like, this thudding from the other side of the door, and then, like, a couple moments later, Jimmy bursts in, and he's holding this weird metal and crystalline thing that looks like an archaic fantasy version of, like, a blowtorch. And he has it like raised in one hand. And you see this little flame coming off of it, and he lands down there. His face is a little less swollen now, but he's like, "I'm here for you, Sephel. I did it." And he's like prone on the ground. He's like, "Fuck, I'm so tired. Oh God, that hurts so much.
Jimmy,
What are you doing in here?"
I don't know. This town has gone to shit.
I
Have
didn't
you-
think it was all that bad.
Have you heard anything about my companions being captured? What is the most chaotic thing that has gone on in the city in the last day?
This is the chaotic shit right here. You being trapped in nothing but what looks like a diaper down here underneath a tavern, and me fucking finding you, dude. That's weird as shit. You want to talk about chaos? Man, what happened to you? Was it a bad night?
Rewind.
I didn't even know you were in town.
Are there murders going on?
The fuck are you talking about, murders? There's no murders. Who's murdering who? What murders? Oh, shit. Is my mom not telling me stuff again?
Is your mother here?
Yeah. She's back at the house, though. She's trying to find a different job. She's kind of tired of bartending, you know, taking it easy. I'm here just, you know, cleaning up the mess.
Yes, the burden.
I hope you guys fucking miss Jimmy because I missed him.
The burden of the working class is felt by us all. But
Yeah, it's a real harbinger, man. I thought conditions would be a little bit better in this town. I mean, it's like slightly better, but it's king clean. Seems like something's up. Also, that dwelling dude is a real asshole. He's like trying to start this whole movement where it's like oppress the people, support the rich. Fucking hate that guy.
yes, he's a royal prick. But Jimmy, I need you to help me find the others. I don't know where they are.
Cool. It seems like you guys kind of had like a rager or something last night. So like, where'd you guys drinking? I didn't see you here, so it couldn't have been here.
We were
Was
captured.
it at one of the other places? Was it at the service? Oh, you were captured.
We were
By who?
captured.
Hookers?
I
Dude, you gotta pay them. You can't not pay them. This is what happens when you don't pay them. Sex work is real work, man. Don't be like that.
I can't even seriously roleplay with this guy.
Yet again,
Just the
Jimmy
plot
speaks
of
the
the
truth.
Don't be like that asshole Ceylon Tusk who doesn't pay people and is like trying to overturn everything.
Okay,
Don't be like
all
that,
right.
man.
All right. Back to my escapism, please, and thank you. Get right.
Jimmy, grab your frying pans. I need your help.
Oh shit, it's getting real. Fuck yeah. It's my time to shine.
And he's like popping up, and he's like still got the blowtorch in hand. He's like,
Give me 1 second. I got my pants here. Don't worry.
Do you have a staff and potentially a shirt I could borrow?
I don't know about staff, but I can definitely get you a shirt. Just hang on a minute. Wait a minute.
he's like looking you up and down. He's like,
It might be a tight fit. Give me a minute.
and he runs down the hall. And then a couple minutes later, you hear like a bunch of yelling from up above, and he's like, you hear like thunk, 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 thunk as he comes running back down. He's got a skillet in hand, and he just like throws the shirt at you, and he's like,
Quick, we gotta go. I stole that from the boss. Come on. There's another exit over here. He's coming. He's real mad.
Great. I throw the shirt on and follow Jimmy.
and he leads you down the hall, and you just hear this.
I need
Fucking hell, Jimmy!
I
Where's
need
my
to do
shirt?
something. I need
Okay.
to do something real quick. You said Jimmy said there was like boxes and fabrics and like bags and shit. Against
Yeah, as you're stepping outside the door, you see it strewn throughout the hall, and there's like a black curtain that was clearly torn down, and a bunch of other random miscellaneous boxes.
Okay. You know what? Fuck it. It's nostalgia. It's towards the end. Let's fucking do some crazy shit. I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna grab a burlap sack that's on the ground. I'm gonna dump the shit. I'm gonna fucking use his torch to burn eye holes in it. I'm gonna put the sack over my head.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
In a fucking montage, he opens up this flour bag, dumps it out, burns these holes. There's little explosions because the flour doesn't like heat.
Yeah.
Throws it down. Puff of what's left over flour just over the nice shirt. It's clearly a Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
And he follows Jimmy as they run up these other stairs. They burst out this door, and it's like an action movie. Just da-da-da-da.
Big,
And we'll see
like,
you guys next time.
big block fiery letters.
Yeah.
Fry Boy and the Magicutioner.
Yes.
Dang, guys, I can't top that. That was really good.
End it.
That was sick. Yeah, let's just cut that. Yeah, Valentine's Day hearts, like, follow, subscribe. If you give us money, that's cool too. I love you. Bye.